How do y'all Molex lives? I think it's time we play a little 7 Days to Die. If I can get through an episode. Uh, People won't stop coming down here today to talk to me while I'm trying to record. It's really, really like half-hour episode. People have come in and started talking to me, distracting me, making me lose my concentration on what I was talking about 6 or 7 times now in a half hour. I don't know what's going through their heads, but they need to go away. uh, so, yeah, I thought we'd talk a little bit about D&D. We played our D&D game this week. I am currently on the hunt for either asset or a wheel. Either one of those will get me a mini bike. I need forged steel, which is going to take either finding the crucible recipe, which I have never seen, I think, in two um, two iterations of this game now, or I need to get enough points to get level 10 intelligence and level 5 advanced engineering. Uh, One of those two things has to happen for me to be able to make a motorcycle, which I do have unlocked. I just can't make because I forgot that a motorcycle takes forged steel, and I don't have enough forged steel. It takes a 30 forged steel. I've got 10 that I found in a box. There's a tire. Are you a tire? I don't remember what to loot this with. Nope, did not give me a tire. You don't always get a tire though, so I don't know if you get a tire at all, honestly, anymore. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know how I got the tire I got. So, last session, so it's the other guy's turn. So last session with him to DM it, his turn to DM it. Last session with him, we attacked a tower using a lot of stealth. And when we opened the door at the bottom, he decided that we had caused enough noise with our stealth attacks because he does this thing where even though we're super stealthy and stuff, they give off a Wilhelm scream, which alerts everybody in the area every time. Every time. There's no stealth with him. There's no sneak attacks. There's no any of that stuff from our side. Just the bad guys. Bad guys are always doing it. Okay, I'm not getting tires so far. Let me try a wrench. I don't think a wrench is doing it here. No, in fact, I got less stuff from using that. And so he moved every bad guy in the area almost out into the courtyard in between out of the courtyard in between the tower we were in and the fortress we were heading to attack. Dang. I thought for sure I'd get a tire from that. There's a whole stack of them. And so even though some of them were supposed to be way on the other side of the fortress we were looking at, they still managed to attack us without actually moving to us. They just magically appeared right next to us because that last guy got off a scream before you managed to kill him. Now he was killed the same turn as everybody else. It wasn't like he got a turn to do something. Right. He just magically alerted everybody because again, if his guys need a surprise round, they get one. If we try for any kind of surprise, no. No, they're always prepared for us. Oh man, all the doors just fell right off. I'd like it if a tire would fall off. It's very curious how it had tires. Now it doesn't have tires, and I don't have a tire. So I'd really appreciate a tire. No tire. Trying to see if I've got. Starting to fill up here. Couldn't get a tire even if I wanted a tire at this point. Don't have room. Oh look, I can't give up battery. How do I get down below? Where's the ladder for that? There it is. So, um, so we start off this week after having cleared the entire courtyard of guys who actually should have been from the surrounding towers, the slave pens, um, the group of soldiers who are supposed to be defending the front of the castle, even though we've come in through the back of the castle. We're not even at the castle is the thing, and they're supposed to be the defenders of the castle, including the captain of the guard, who just magically ran around to the back of the castle to fight us while we were stealthily invading a single watchtower. But yeah, so we started this week. We're pretty damaged. I didn't have a lot left in the way of hit points. Both my guys were running less than half, and so we open the door, and as soon as we open the door, we did it in a stealthily way, rolled stealth for it and everything. And even though our rogue is rolling like massive stealth, they were prepared. They knew we were coming. And so we roll our initiative, we start our attacks, and I'm going to try this with a pickaxe just in case. Axe didn't do it. Wrench didn't do it. I don't think that did it either. I'm starting to think you can't pick up a tire. So we open the door and we start taking our turns. And the book has very clear instructions on how these characters are supposed to respond, these bad guys. And this is important because the way the game is played, the number of bad guys and the type of bad guys determine how powerful an encounter actually is. It doesn't matter that an individual bad guy is a lower level than the players. What matters is that as a group, they mean something. And so when the book places higher level bad guys in the campaign, they often reduce how powerful they are. And so they'll do things like this particular character is a priestess of Lolth, for example. Well, in the book, they have certain information on how the Priestess of Lolth is dressed, armor and all that, and or what spells they have available or things like that. And so the book might change that to make it easier, because it's too high of a group level for the players. Now we tend to murder our way through everything, anyways. Oh, I can't pick up that water, and so it's not too big of a deal. But it's annoying because it super inflates the difficulty, and we don't get the encounters as written. We get his "gotta kill you with everything I've got" encounters, and so there's no interaction really. And so this particular Priestess of Loth, for example, in the book, is not dressed for war. She has her weapon, but she does not have on her armor. And so instead of being high AC, which you have to hit through, she has a lower AC, making it easier to hit her. And then on top of that, um, she has a child, and so she wants her child to live, and so she's supposed to. I know it sounds awful, but um, uh, she's supposed to try to protect herself and her child, uh, and negotiate for her release. That woman didn't speak a single word to us. Uh, Not one. And in fact, it says in the book that she's supposed to negotiate, and if she feels her life is threatened, then she's supposed to cast this demon. Well, she got to go first. She cast her demon and attacked. Um, and I mean, I didn't know. I wasn't looking in the book. Uh, Man, I really was hoping to find a bottle of acid out through here. Uh, and so, anyway, so we get in there. She summons a demon. There's a wizard in there with her, and the wizard has rules on what he's supposed to do. He's also supposed to summon a demon as his turn, his first turn, it says. And he's also not dressed in his normal armored gear. We didn't get any of that. Instead, what happened was she didn't talk. She just jumped out, cast her demon, and attacked. And then the wizard, super annoyed me. Um, he I hate when DMs decide that the best route they can take is to remove a player from combat. Um, because it's a game, and the idea is that everybody's playing the game. Now it's different if the players remove bad guys from the combat, because there's more bad guys. But the player only has the player, and so instead of, oh great, it's nighttime. Instead of well, that didn't work. So instead of doing what it says in the book for him to do and act the way he's supposed to act, our wizard throws out a banishment spell, removing 2 of the 4 players from the game, and literally they did not come back until after the fight was over. which means 2 of the 4 players got to sit there the entire fight, which wouldn't be as bad if our DM was quicker, but he does this thing where he likes to talk his way through a turn, and it really highly annoys me, and it's always annoyed me. Because it's not just a thing he does now; it's a thing he's always done, and that he doesn't think about what he could do when it gets to a particular character's turn. Like, the DM does not need to be involved in the player making a decision on what the player is going to do on the player's turn. I mean, yes, there might be some rules or something, but for the most part, the DM is not actually involved in how the player is going to take the player's turn. The player will tell the DM what they're doing, and then as long as that's what they're doing, as long as that's what they can do, that's what they do. There's no DM involvement in that. Um, and So there's no reason for him to pay as much attention to our turns, other than when we say what we're doing. He could be thinking up what his bad guy is going to do on his bad guy's next turn. And most of the time, they don't have a lot of abilities. Attack with sword, attack with a bow, that's it. That kind of thing. Just like we don't have that many abilities in reality once you get going. Just need that last wheel, man. Um, and so yeah, it super frustrates me when he sits there and talks his way through every option a bad guy could do. Like, he will take it, he'll move the bad guy. He'd be like, "Do I want to move here? Do I want to attack with a sword? I can attack it with a bow. If I move my guy over here, then I can attack with a bow from here, and I could attack this character. But maybe it would be better if I moved over here and attacked with here." I'm like, okay, A, I don't need to hear your thought process out loud. I just don't. Um, I mean, I guess it's better than sitting there for the 5 to 10 minutes it takes him to do each bad guy's turn. Uh, but I don't need to hear the running monologue of your thoughts in your head while you're deciding what a bad guy is going to do. So it gets even worse the more complicated the bad guy is. And well, this is a weird place for food. And so the 2 bad guys we're facing off against are super high level, and so his turns were taking forever last night. And so then on top of that, he cast banishment, and so 2 of the 3 people he cast on, he tried to take out. Oh, well, I was kind of hoping there'd be some acid here in this kind of. Oh, there's a lot of bad guys in this pit. I don't like that. Where'd that guy go? Oh, they got out already. Oof. So anyways, I gotta speed this up. So basically he removed 2 of the characters from the gameplay for the entire fight. We were already super damaged, and so the way he played the game was trying to kill us. Not trying to combat the way the combat is supposed to play out, not have personalities for the characters, just whatever their most powerful attacks that could take us out. That's what he tried to do. I ended up, he hit me once and did 28 points of damage to my guy who had 49 points of damage, or 49 hit points left. And so wasn't going great for me. And so I cast haste, The thief, it was even crazier than that. So I ran in to cast a spell. The wizard had cast banishment, taking 2 of the players off the board, and then he drank a potion because he'd taken a little bit of damage. And then when I cast my spell, he cast counterspell. Now he didn't just cast counterspell; he cast counterspell at a higher level than my spell because the DM knew what level the spell I was casting was. The bad guy didn't. The DM did. That's metagaming. You're supposed to avoid that. There was no reason for him to cast a higher level counterspell than he would normally cast. Just there was no reason for it. A wizard is more powerful than a bard, spell wise. Chances are, I would imagine he would just cast a regular counterspell, thinking that I didn't have very high level spells or something along those lines. I don't often, as a DM, increase the level of the spells I'm casting against the players. They have a list of spells that they can cast, what levels they are. I just go with that. Um, but no, not our DM. He has to upscale everything to see if he can kill us. And so counterspelled my spell, which means I didn't get to do anything on that turn. He already removed 2 players, so we had a whole turn where only one guy got to do anything. And where'd that guy go? Hey, you think there's some acid down in there? It's not even a ladder to get back out. I don't like that. Well, that didn't go anywhere. I really need a wheel or some acid. Dude, the door's unlocked. And so yeah, I ran around. I ran back out of the room and around the side of the wall so they couldn't see me. And so what does he do? He sends the demon that the priestess casts out the door to find me. Well, I say find me. I mean he sent the demon directly to where I was at and attacked me after counterspelling my spell. So the next turn, I've got 21 hit points left. I can't heal myself really at this point, and I don't know what to do. So I cast haste on myself. Haste lets you run faster and hit an extra time during a turn, and gives you slightly improved armor class. And so I thought maybe this would help me survive the fight that's happening because it was looking really bad with our 2 main damage dealers out of the thing from banishment. Um, our thief had cast because the demon ignored him, even though he's the one that did all the damage during the turn. Uh, he drank an invisibility potion so he could not get attacked. And then, even though you can still find people who are invisible, the DM's just like, "Yep, everybody's going after the bard," which is my character. Yeah, it doesn't feel like he's singled me out or anything. And so everybody in the room, instead of trying to find the thief who vanished, who did attack, they go after the guy whose spell got fizzled and he ran out the door. Uh, yeah, and so I had everybody after me. Um, but haste lets me run twice as fast, so I just stayed out of the range of the yokel, and which is the demon, and basically whittled it down until I managed to kill it. And it was yeah, we killed that, and then we killed the 2 little guys that had run out with him, and then the 2 big guys, they just left because I don't know why. And so then we got back the spell that the banishment dropped. Our 2 guys came back so they could interact with the game again. So then we went back to town. And then we were in town. We did some shopping to replenish our healing potions we had drank all of. And then we get comments like, oh, I swear I heard something growl at me. So then we get comments about, like, "You guys are lucky that I'm such a generous DM. I give you plenty of potions since you don't have a healer on your team." Uh, But then we also get comments like, uh, if you guys want to buy something, I guess you can have access to like uncommon or maybe rare items. We'll discuss rare items. I'm like, look, man, we're already equipped with rare items. When are we going to get access to very rare items? And he's like, well, I don't know about that. That seems too powerful. How about I just let you exchange your magic items you're not using for a similar level of magic items? I'm like, how about we exchange multiple rare items that we have for a single very rare item? I'd like to get an upgrade to my sword. And so I had purchased a sword way back at the beginning of the game. Um, I wanted. Uh, oh. I wanted a +2 sword way back at the beginning of the game. So when a sword has a plus to it, like a sword +1 or a sword +2, what that means is that when you roll your attack roll, you get to add a point, or in the case of a +2, 2 points to the roll. It's such a minuscule bonus, but that's what I had wanted to buy, was a +2 sword. I had a +1 sword, I had a bunch of money, I wanted to upgrade to a +2 sword, and he turned me down. Because that was too powerful. A +2 sword was too powerful. It also does an extra 2 points of damage. So instead, he let me get a magic sword that didn't have a bonus of +1 or 2 to it, but it did 2d6 fire damage. So somehow doing 2 to 12 extra damage was less powerful than a sword that did 2 extra damage. I don't know his thought process, but again, last night that played out as well. I wanted to upgrade to a new sword. They had these new swords in the newest D&D book that I thought were spectacular, and I really wanted one of them. And it's only a slight upgrade to what I have. And since I've had that sword for like 10 levels now, I thought maybe I could finally get an upgrade to it. Oh, gross! It's a wolf. Uh, but no, that wasn't happening. It did happen in the end, and it cost me 4 rare items to get a sword that was better than my current sword. I am actually quite pleased with the sword. It seems cool. There's so few uh, weapon upgrades in the game. It's insane how little there is for fighter loot in the game. Uh, and so the sword I had is a great sword. It does 2d6 damage, 2 6-sided dice, and then it also does 2d6 fire damage, which he let me have because fire is one of the most commonly crap. Oh, you're not a wolf. Oh, you guys look cool. I mean, I don't appreciate you killed me, but you look cool. I like that new model. That's very cool. Uh, so So the new sword, if you roll a 20, lets you do 5 extra damage of the sword type, fire or whatever. My sword is a fire sword again. I just went with the same fire sword because he was like, "I'm not letting you get something else. It's got to be fire." I'm like, yeah, "That's fine. I don't care. I just wanted a slight upgrade to what I've got." The big upgrade to it is that once per day, and this is the one that he really threw a fit about. Once per day, no, that's not true. He threw a fit about the entire thing. Once per day, I can do a single cone attack of fire damage. Once per day. Uh, that's it. That was why I wanted it, because it was just like my old sword, but it did a single cone attack once per day. Cone attack means it goes out in front of you in a cone shape. That's it. That's all I wanted. I just wanted that attack, and added to my sword. And so then he's looking at the other things the sword does, and I hadn't actually read some of the other stuff the sword does. It turns out it actually does quite a bit more than I read. Um, and one of the things it does is when you roll a d20. I thought that they were different levels of sword. I didn't realize it was the same sword upgrading. And so the first upgrade it gets is that when you hit a 20, a natural 20, which is a critical hit, it allows you to do 5 points of extra damage to all the creatures within 5 feet of you. Uh, so that's nice. It's not amazing, but it's nice. And he's like, "Well, I don't think you should get that." I'm like, "So 5 extra damage if I hit a crit. That's the killer for you. The the block to me getting an upgrade to my sword is 5 extra damage. Yeah, let's just not have that." I'm like, "It's 5 extra damage." He's like, "Fine." Um, and then the next upgrade was it's a +2 weapon. He's like, "All right, so I'll let you get that, but we're gonna make it like a no bonus weapon then." I'm like, "Okay, well, it's not worth the upgrade then. It's basically the same as my current sword." And he's like, "Well, maybe the what he wanted to do was he's like, okay, I'll let you have that, but instead of being 2d6, it'll just be 1d6 fire damage regularly." I'm like, "Okay, I'm not taking a one per day cone attack um instead of an extra d6 damage every time I swing the weapon." I mean, literally 2 turns and I would have done more damage with my regular attacks than that cone attack can do. What are you talking about? Fine, fine, all right. I guess you can have that, but I mean, it just seems too powerful. I'm like, it's a very rare weapon. It's one level of above what we're using now. What do you mean? He finally like, fine, fine, you can have it. And then this is the crazy one. This is the crazy one. I said, "What would it take to upgrade my armor from +1 to +2?" And he says, 20,000 golds. And I'm like, that seems like a lot of money. He's like, "Well, you let me know if you're willing to spend that much money." And I said, "Well, okay, what about because +2 armor is very rare, and so it's one extra AC, right? It's one extra AC." So I ask him about my cloak of protection or my ring of protection, and he says, uh, "Yeah, you can turn in like a bunch of stuff, and then I'll charge you like 13.25 per cloak or ring to turn them into a +2." So they also increase your armor, but they also increase your saving throws, which is a much bigger deal. I wanted to increase my armor by 1 point. Instead, he let me increase my armor by 1 point and my saving throws by 1 point for like 3,500 gold. But he's going to charge for 2 characters. But he's going to charge me 20,000 gold to increase it by 1 AC for 1 character. I'm just like, I cannot grasp. I cannot, because armor doesn't require attunement, he said. And that's why the armor costs so much more. But those other items do require attunement, so they take up one of your attunement slots. I barely have any items that are attuned. Like I dumped out one item by increasing my strength this turn. So after I got rid of my sword, I had no attuned items uh, except my cloak of protection, and now I have a cloak of protection +2, which is way more powerful than letting me increase my armor to armor +2. I tell you. So, anyways, we did all that. We went back down. Um, he had brought in the last two named people in the castle and put them in the same room as the two people we fought previously. We go in there. My guy rolled the highest, and man, I'm really sad that I didn't get a wheel. Uh, my guy rolled the highest, so he got to go first. I cast a spell. He counterspelled it, but I had picked up counterspell because we'd gone up a level last time, but we hadn't been allowed to actually apply it. So while we were on the surface, we got a long rest in. We got to apply our level. I took counterspell, so I counterspelled his counterspell, and he's like, what level of counterspell are you doing it at? I'm like, I'm just gonna do a regular level 3 counterspell. He's like, well, this guy's doing a level 5 counterspell. I'm like, okay. And he's like, so you're gonna have to roll to see if I'm like, I know how counter spells work. So I will roll. And so I rolled and I got a 23. He said I needed a 19, so I beat that guy's counterspell. So my counterspell counterspelled his counterspell. And then I got to hit with my prismatic spray, which didn't really do a whole lot, unfortunately. They blocked a lot of it, but it did a little bit. And then once we'd done that, then everybody else was able to get in and finish off the bad guys pretty handily, honestly. And then that was it. The fight was over, which is kind of how it should have went down the first time. And then we find out there's a baby. And I'm like, oh, there's a baby. Well, can we take the baby back? I don't want to kill a baby. And he's like, well, roll a d20, and I'll give you a 50% chance that the baby survives. I'm like, okay, but I got healing spells and stuff if it needs it. And we're just going straight back to town. And so we had to argue over whether or not we could save a baby with the DM. And we'd managed to roll high enough to save the baby. And then he said there's a slight chance it doesn't turn evil. And I'm like, it's a baby. It's not going to be raised evil. What do you mean? And so he had us roll to see if the baby would be evil or not in the future. And then he gave it some kind of weird story that how it was going to be an apprentice to an old man that we had met. And I'm just like, it's a baby. I'd like to think we could find a family who would raise it. I don't think an old man is going to be our choice to give a baby to. I don't think that's the option we're going to go with. And so, yeah, oh shoot, I did not want to do that. I meant to close my window, not loot my loot box here. So that was our night. So with that, be better than small things, lean the light, and I will talk to you later.